All right, 1 Kings chapter 12. Let's call this one, I believe, but my people don't. Because in this chapter, the kingdom is in fact going to be split as a result of Solomon's decision to marry a whole lot of women who distracted his attention from being successful, or the success he had been before as the wisest man in the world. And so he is going to have a son by one of those women, an Ammonite woman from the nations that God said, look, you need to be careful of these particular women. It wasn't all foreign women. Why? Because he married an Egyptian first off. They were not from the nations of the people that God warned Israel about. But Rehoboam was, and so he is going to be Solomon's successor, and he is going to repeat way too many of his dad's unhealthy habits. Jeroboam, however, is a talented man working underneath Solomon that Solomon's not going to realize how much of a problem he was going to become until God made it clear that now he was going to remove his protection from Solomon's kingdom. And now Jeroboam, as a talented man, is going to see that he can replace Solomon, and he is now going to become a threat to Solomon. So Solomon's going to chase him off. But before we get there, Rehoboam, his heir apparent, is going to have his own set of challenges through his people. And it's not going to be a great number of people, but it's going to be through what we would call today his boys, his network. Why? Because he is going to have a choice between door number one and door number two. Like we mentioned, door number one, follow in the healthy pattern of things that your dad did. How do you do that? Well, you've got some of his close advisors to the most successful man on the earth who are willing to advise you as well. And they're going to tell him to do one simple thing when the people of Israel come to him with a straightforward request. Look, your dad was a great king, but he was really hard on us and the things that we needed to do in order to get the temple and all of his other construction projects done. So if you will simply relax the burden that he put on us, we will serve you, bud. But Rehoboam is going to say, give me 3 days and I'll come back to you with an answer. In those 3 days, he is going to make a good decision, first of all, and consult those elders, those consultants that his father relied on in building his success. And they're going to say, it's simple. Be a servant to the people and they will be servants to you. He's going to, however, consult his boys, and they're going to be like, really? That's what they said? That sounds weak. And so that's my paraphrase, but essentially they're going to tell him, really without reason, you need to be harder on them than your dad was. Otherwise, they might try to play you. Again, my paraphrase. But it's going to prove to be horrible advice. Why? Because there is a reason why his buddies were not advising King Solomon. And so he is going to reject the advice of his dad's counselors, and he is going to accept the advice of his friends. He's going to answer the people harshly, and the people are going to answer back. They are going to drive him out. And of the 12 tribes of Israel, he is only going to be able to hold on to one particularly, but it's going to seem that he is actually going to have influence over two, his own tribe, Judah, and also the tribe of Benjamin. And he's going to try to rally those two tribes up to go to battle and take back what was his. But God is going to send him an intervention saying, nah, bud, this is the result of your choice, even though it was my doing. God's doing in the sense that he allowed it to happen as a result of the way that Solomon had strayed during his later years, but he didn't make the kid make bad choices. And so he's saying, nah, bud, you made that choice, so now you got to live with it. And so now he is going to have to live with 20% of what he inherited because he took the bad advice to search out what was behind door number two. But he's not going to be alone because Jeroboam is going to have much the same pressure in a different form. See, his people aren't going to so much be a narrow circle of friends as much as the same set of pressures that Saul caved into, and that is, even though God sent him a prophet that said, but you can be like David if you will simply act like David. He is going to find trying to please the masses of people that he is called to lead too much pressure to resist trying to take door number two. And so he is going to be afraid that if he allows the people to go back to worship in Jerusalem, where Rehoboam is still king, he is going to lose the people to Rehoboam. And instead of listening to what God promised him, just do what I asked you to do, let the people go, he is going to hold on to them too tight, and he is going to lose everything later days. But for now, he is laying the groundwork through his fear of disappointing the masses for his later failures. And the tragedy is, it's not going to be just his own failures. He is going to set in motion a chain of events that not only harm him, but he's really going to set his kids up for failure as well. But more on that in future chapters as we look at the way in which his kids believe, but the reality of what he has left them doesn't give them a whole lot of healthy options.